what is the energy situation that you left? Because the lights have been going off, and the NDC communication is saying that this is part of MPP's bad work that President Mahama has been referring to.
I mean, I said yesterday that the return of President Mahama, brings memories of the dumsor that we endured between the end of 2011 and 2016. 4 years of dumsor. That wasn't good at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
I think it was 3 years.
4 years. Because the last year, they didn't bring out a timetable, but that doesn't mean there was no dumsor. There was dumsor. We had very serious, power challenges. We had very serious power challenges in 2016. And the public was demanding for a timetable, load shedding timetable, if you recall. They refused to do that because that was an election year.
But that also happened in 2024 when the public was demanding load shedding timetable from the government.
But the protraction is what we are talking about.
How long it lasted?
Yes, how long it lasted. And so Nana Akufo-Addo kept the lights on for most of the 8 years that he was president. If you had, interruptions, they were short-term interruptions, if you like. They were not protracted. And that's why Napo said is what? Is it dumsor? Or how did he describe that? He kept the lights on. They are talking about debts that they were accumulated in the energy sector.
Yes, they've mentioned that.
The president has even spoken about 70 billion Ghana cedis of ECG debt. Where are those debts coming from? The president signed many contracts, energy contracts, which all of them had take or pay provisions.
Yes. And
take or pay means what?
If the energy is produced, you pay for it.
You pay for it.
Yeah.
Whether you take it or not. Take or pay is naturally not bad, because you find that in many contracts around the world. But when you have signed more contracts than we need, and those contracts all have take or pay, it means that for most of the time you will not be using energy from some of the contracts, but you will be paying for them.
That's correct.
And that's what we call excess capacity payments.
Okay.
You contracted more capacity than you need. And because they are take or pay, it means that some will naturally not be producing, but they will declare availability. But because you don't take it, you have to pay for it. The bulk of the debts are coming from those. Because PURC doesn't allow into the tariffs the cost of contracted power. They only allow the cost of consumed power. And so that gap between contract and consumption, who pays for it?
The government of Ghana.
The government of Ghana. That's how.
But how are we to finish paying for that
That's
in
how
8
the
years?
debt. Because you
but
have.
did you not come and use some of the capacity?
No, because you have
the capacity that you said was excess.
Do
we still have excess capacity today?
As demand increased.
Yeah, you used it.
As demand increased and you used it, you pay for it because it then gets reflected in the tariff.
But you had been paying for it before you started using it.
Yes.
And at the time we left, before you needed it.
Yeah, before we needed it. And at the time we left, we still had close to 1,000 and above.
Megawatts.
Megawatts.
Of capacity unused.
Yes.
Today.
That were not needed. And we're paying for it.
But is that happening today?
It's happening today.
So we are still paying for megawatts. But why are there lights off when there's capacity? I don't get it. So if there's 1,000 megawatts capacity.
So usually when the president says he fixed dumsor, he's talking about the capacity he has added. But capacity addition doesn't solve dumsor.
Explain.
Because you have to fuel the power plants. And it is money.
So those power plants that are not fueled, that have been created are not fueled.
Yes.
And that's what we pay for in the so-called take or pay?
Yes, because...
But if the power plants are standing there like this bottle, it's not producing any energy because it hasn't been fueled. Why are we paying for it?
Because you told them that you have responsibility to provide them with fuel. So if you don't provide them with the fuel,
they have finished their work.
Yes, you have to pay.
But how do you pay when they have not produced a single megawatt of power?
That is what President Mahama negotiated.
I'm confused.